and just one of these rare days. It's about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm not in the field tonight. It is Tuesday night. I'm usually in the field on Tuesdays. Monday and Tuesday is my time to be out usually. But I'm at the airport, as you can see. And most of you know I fly airplanes, and so I love to do that as a hobby. And just out at the airport right now. And I was kind of taking a little bit of a walk, and just figured my video this week is late to get it up to you. We've had some software issues and trying to get the video edited and get it uploaded, but it will be out hopefully later today. And on that video, I'm talking about, I'm not sure what I'm talking about, actually. I forgot the title of it. Keeping the business simple. And, a lot of these videos, ideas that that come to mind and that I've decided to put up for you is based on conversations that I've had all week long. I usually have 25 to 50 conversations going on any given week. Some of those with my agents, some of my top producers and leaders that are in our agency, but also just a lot of you that call me up and just talk for no other reason. But maybe I can kind of shed some light on the business and maybe help you move your business to the next level, even if you're not on our team. And I want to make sure that that's understood. It's not always about these videos are not intended to drag you away from somebody else's IMO, but they are about to make sure the message gets out that there is a difference, and there are options that you should consider, and those make a difference. This is not just a sign-up thing. I hear that so many times about, well, I'm going to sign up with somebody in my area, or I found out somebody was with the same IMO and they're in the next town over. If it was a network marketing type operation and you're going to get together and get all excited and have meetings and opportunity meetings and all that kind of stuff, and maybe the locality makes a difference. But if you're serious about being in this business and selling insurance and mortgage protection, final expense, and really all things financial services, it's much more than a sign-up thing, right? The coaching and mentoring part is very important. I think you need to have that with the agency that you're recruited or hired by, and you also need to have that through the IMO. You get that kind of dual layered support, which is what we provide all the time. And a lot of things I learned over the years was taught to me not by the insurance company that I worked for. Back then it wasn't even an IMO, but also not by the IMO. It's really by the person that had been in the business for many, many years before I was, and that taught me a lot of things. Some things that you don't really teach, right? I mean, it's like the phone script, for example. Everybody has their own unique phone script. We have one, and we teach that to everybody. So, and that's the phone script that we recommend. And but again, phone scripts are about not what you say; it's about what you convey, right? So there's just a unique way of doing that. Also, how to work the leads. I mean, leads are great, but you need to know how to work the leads. It's not as simple as just grabbing a piece of paper and calling somebody on the phone. The lead really gives you and I, as agents, an excuse to pick up the phone because it's not a cold call; it's a warm call at best, right? And it's a big difference. I mean, I've got agents on my team that'll tell you that like myself, that started out with the traditional insurance companies. I was with the New England 30 some odd years ago, and it was a phone book. Literally a phone book. You don't even have the phone book anymore. It was a phone book and a cubicle and some old case files, and go, right? And when you get tired of doing that, get out on the street and knock on doors. Now, that's a tough way to go. So those of you that want to complain about the lead program, try knocking on doors and ask people if they want to buy insurance, right? As we know, and I've learned, again, these are the kind of things that I kind of impart to you on this channel, like insurance is an event-based business. Something has had to happen in people's lives to question their mortality and to get them worried about the fact that their families could be in jeopardy if they were no longer around to provide an income. And so they want to get life insurance and or mortgage protection insurance, right? And the other thing is, people don't buy insurance, they buy what insurance does, right? I mean, literally, you could go out in a street corner and ask people if they want to buy life insurance, and if you don't get mugged in the process, you can probably talk to 1,000 people. You might get a couple, but if you went out there and asked the same people, if something were to happen to you, would you like to have your family taken care of and your home protected so your wife and your kids aren't homeless or moving with the relatives? That's a different question. And of course they would, and most people would anyway. I've met a few that wouldn't, but, right? But of course they would. So they're buying what the insurance does for them, not the insurance. I mean, I've got a lot of insurances I'd like to not have to pay for. And I love this business. I love this industry, and every day I wake up, even with all the challenges that come with this industry or this business, when you deal, when you start to build an agency, you leave the insurance business and you get in the people business, and sometimes it can be challenging, right? But I love it. I love to see people succeed here, and if we've had some small part in that, fantastic. So that's why I kind of stick around with it. And the money's great, the profitability is fantastic, and I don't know anywhere else you can go where you can. The next video I'm going to do is really the law of large numbers part 2 that I hope to have out later on this week. And that really is how you can earn a 6-figure income here part-time. Again, I don't know there's not too many places I think you can go for a couple $100 and getting a license, you can make the kind of money that we're talking about here in mortgage section and final expense. Literally, if you run 10 appointments a week and have a 50% closing ratio, you can earn 6 figures here, right? Now, again, it depends on your contract rate, and there are IMOs that pay, that don't pay very well. That's all understood. But the point is that you should come pretty close regardless. Where else can you do that and work your life around your business? I mean, like I said, I'm usually out in the field 1 to 2 nights a week. The rest of the week I spend talking to folks like yourself and working with my team and building our agency. And then I do some 25% of my time is given to folks that aren't interested or not, or maybe considering the industry or with another company or whatever that maybe I can impart some nuggets on. So, and I plan on doing it for as long as I'm able to breathe, right? Because it's all about paying it forward, and I really enjoy doing that. And I think we have some value that we can offer people based on our experiences. So, there's probably about 4 videos that wrapped up this thing. I'm not out tonight. I did work this afternoon today. I had a lot of phone calls, and I decided to just kind of take a little bit of break and kind of reflect on what's the last 30 days. It's almost the end of February now. We're getting ready to go into March, and just where I'm at with our goals. And so the next video I'm going to do is on goal setting. How do you take what you want to make? Say you want to make 100,000. Say you want to make 50,000, and how do you turn that into activity, daily action? So many people dream, and that's great. I think you ought to have a dream. I think you need to have a dream that converts into a reason why, or is the reason why you do this business, because it's too easy to stay home and watch TV, right? Because we're all independent contractors, so we have to have something to motivate us other than money, because sometimes money doesn't do it, right? That being said, how do you turn that into goals? And then, of course, you want them to be SMART goals, which is specific. The S stands for specific. The M stands for measurable. So you need to be able to measure them in terms, and determine, your progress, right? They need to be attainable. In other words, they need to be, something that you can actually achieve, because otherwise you get depressed and you won't do it, right? They need to be realistic. To say you want to make $1 million this year as a life insurance sale is probably not realistic. Can you come close? I think you can, but maybe not in your first year, right? And then they need to be trackable. And the reason why they're trackable is so you can gauge your process. Your progress. So set SMART goals. How do you do that once you figure out what the amount of income you want to make, and how do you break that into daily, weekly, monthly goals? That's what you want to track, so you can see where you're at in your progress, working towards your goal. And again, part-time, if you can run 10 appointments a week, you'll see actually, or sit down with maybe, if you set 10 appointments, you'll sit down with 6 to 8 families. If you have a 50% closing ratio, you're on track to make 6 figures if you're doing it right. That's with an average application of about $1,000. I'm going to go through that, so I don't want to spoil my whole next video. But look, one of the things I find that is the biggest problem in this industry is, I'm sorry, I had to fix the dog chain. One of the things I find is not in this industry, but with most people, is the word mediocrity. It's the title of this video. So many people, just aren't willing to pay the price to be successful in anything. It's too easy to quit. I talk to people, again, going back to being in the people business. I talk to people all the time, and they tell me, Steve, I have to do this. I don't have an option. I've got to support my family. My car payment's overdue, my mortgage is due. I'm out of work, whatever. And I don't have to, I've got to get this done. How fast can you get me in the field? How fast can you give me some leads? How fast can you get me trained? And because I've got to hit this thing hard. And then, and so I'm all in. I feel like when you bring somebody in this business, it's not a sign-up thing. It is 100% commitment on both parties in order to be successful. You give 100%, I'll give 100%, right? But I can't drag you to the altar, and I can't want this more than you want it for yourself, right? So my point is that, so many people come in with that attitude, and then I get an email. I'm all in. I'm looking at the area. I'm trying to figure out what the lead flow is. I'm trying to get them contracted to the carriers as fast as I possibly can, because I take them at their face value. I take them at their word, and I know that they can accomplish this, and I know that they can support their family and design a life for themselves around their business that will be life-changing, actually. To be able to work a couple of days a week and have the rest of the week, especially with single parents. I'm not trying to lessen dual parenting at all. I think that's something that's lacking in this country. But certainly for single parents, to be able to be a stay-at-home mom or dad, and only be out a couple nights a week and still be able to make six figures in the United States is phenomenal. But my point is that I'm all in, and then 3 or 4 days later, I get a message that they're going to, I got to go out of town for a couple of days. I got to go do this, or I've got a dental appointment, or I've got a family, and I get all that. But what happened to you're having to do it. You're having to pay the bills. Your car payment's past due. Your mortgage is due. What happened to all that stuff, right? So it's disappointing sometimes because I take people at their face value, and within 3 or 4 days after the point at which they made that decision, they didn't back it up with work. And so one of the things that I have on my signature line on my email is that some people back up their hopes and dreams with work. Others not so much, right? I don't know the exact quote, but the point is that you've got to put work behind it. Once you make that emotional decision that this is where I want to be, I know I can be successful here, and I have to do this. I have to support my family. You've got to then break it down into what it's going to take work-wise and see if you want to do that, right? And that's the point. And you have to be willing to do the work. Because so many of us, say, well, I want to make $1 million a year. Okay, what's it going to take? Well, it means I'm going to have to go out and see, I'm going to have to set 40 appointments a week. I'm going to have to work maybe 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I'm going to have to write 100, to make 6 figures. I need to be on track of writing about 100 policies per month. That's averaging 10 per week, 2.5 apps per day, really. So, am I willing to do all that stuff? So then I'll say, well, $1 million would be nice, but, I'll be okay with 100,000, right? So anyway, so mediocrity is a bad word. I mean, I don't know anything more that can derail someone's success and in anything really than mediocrity. You've got to be willing to figure out, what you have to do, what your goals are, set some goals, and then realize that you've made those goals. I mean, it happens a lot to people when they go to a conference, right? We used to say years ago that in business that sold soap. I won't mention a name, but we bring them all in, they get all lathered up and go home clean but broke, right? So you can get them all lathered up and excited, and they still go home broke. But the point is that sometimes a lot of people get me. I do it. I go to a conference. I get all excited. People, the awards banquet. People going across the stage making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year is exciting to see people change their lives that way. I mean, where else can you go? That's doctor's money, right? And be able to do that in this business. It's incredible. So I get all excited. We start setting goals, and we get to sit down and make sure we're willing to do the work necessary to accomplish that goal. That's the point, right? If we're not willing to do the work, then it's not a goal. It's a want, but it's not a need, right? You have to figure out what you want to work for. Anyway, so that's about it. I know it's not a lot about mortgage protection and final expense, but hopefully that makes a difference to somebody today. I appreciate you being part of my channel. I've got some exciting videos coming up that will bring Angela back in for a couple of cameo appearances, and so just focus on that word mediocrity and see if that applies to how you approach your goals and and what you're trying to accomplish in your life, and be anything but average and ordinary, and have anything else, anything but mediocrity. All right, have a great day. Goodbye.